Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into the latest GavsWeatherVids Sunday Round-Up. So here we go again, time to bring you another eclectic mix of this and that. We'll be looking at things like solar activity, sea surface temperature anomalies, what's going on with ENSO, the QBO, the AO, the LEO, and much more as well. And I shall get on with that for you in a moment. Just to say that first, the video today was our 6 AM UK weather forecast. We've also released the 7th update for autumn 2024, and we'll be live at 6 PM with our 10 to 14 day, and we will include some long range of that as well, because it's a Sunday live stream, so gonna have some long range, and that is coming up at 6 PM this evening. Please like, share, and subscribe on all of today's videos and content. Thank you so much to do that. This is the final Sunday roundup of the year. Reason being, winter updates will commence on Sunday the 1st of September. So we look at pretty much what we look at in the Sunday roundup. It's what we look at in the winter updates, with a lot more added in as well, of course. So we will just be repeating ourselves, if we carried on Sunday roundup through the latter part of the year. So they always go on the back burner after August in favour of winter updates. So, not long to go, less than a month now, can you believe it? Before winter updates begin. Unbelievable. Right, well, anyway, let's crack on with the final Sunday roundup of the year. We're going to begin, as always, with solar activity. This is how the solar disk is looking on our side of this day from solarham.net. Multiple sunspot regions on the solar disk, and Solarham is reporting that solar activity is at high levels and is expected to remain at moderate to high levels for the next 3 days as well. We are at solar maximum, of course. Haven't got any trackers for you for this one. We'll have the solar trackers, hopefully, for the first winter update on the 1st of September. But we can bring you this. This is from my good friend Rich. This is showing spotless days and the current spotless stretch and multiple gavs. Now, how many gavs have we got here? We've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. I think. So, who am I? Well, that one is Spider-Man, isn't it? That one's where I'm being rickrolled. Or you're being rickrolled, you're being gav-rolled. Michael Myers there, I think. And is that Tom Cruise? I think that might be Top Gun. I remember that one. I said, oh, I'm Tom Cruise when we showed that. And my late mum, Mrs. P, off to the side, said, in your dreams, Gavin. In your dreams, Gavin, she'd always know how to put me in my place. Oh, my lovely mum. Okay, well, anyway, that's given us a good laugh. Thanks, Rich. Let's have a look at the spotless days of the current spotless stretch, then. So, the current spotless stretch, it's 20... She did that when Rich turned into Elvis as well. Said, in your dreams, Gavin. She always knew, always knew how to give me a verbal slap and put down. As only mums do. Anyway, let's get down to business. So for 2024, the current spotless stretch is 0 days, and the same is true actually for 2023. Both days have had sunspots every day of the year. So the last day, but didn't have, or the last day. The last year, but didn't have a sunspot, or didn't have any sunspots, was in 2022. Had 1 day then, which was less than 1% of the year. And more consistently, 2021, which had 64 days without sunspots. 2022 and 8 days without sunspots. Of course, so the minimum year was 2019, which had 281 days without sunspots, 77% of the year. Now, I think we worked out that our comparable year from the last, I got myself into a terrible muddle over this, didn't I? The last year, the comparable year to 2024 is 2013 from the last solar cycle. That also had every day with sunspots. So, interestingly, 2014 did have 1 day without sunspots, and that is the true solar maximum year as well in 2014. So, quite unusual. It wasn't until 2016 that we started getting spotlessness appearing as we moved into solar minimum, which implies it'll be around 2027 when we start moving, you know, definitively into the solar minimum, the solar cycle number 25, and start thinking perhaps a bit about solar cycle 26. Anyway, thank you, Rich, for that. Thank you for the multiple Gavs. Blast from the past mail. Yeah, so sorry, everyone. Thanks, Rich. Great laugh. Thanks so much, my friend. Right, let's have a look at what's going on in the oceans, then. So, this is how the oceans were looking when we did last month's Sunday Round-Up, I should say, back in July. So, we've got our 4 interest areas: Enter interest here, North Pacific over here, Indian Ocean over here, and the North Atlantic over there. That's how things were looking when we did the last Sunday Round-Up last month. This is the latest. And dealing with the ENSO region, first of all, you can see that we have finally seen a strengthening of the La Nina that's developing in the equatorial Pacific Ocean, particularly through the more central region, interestingly, slightly less so towards the east, where you'd expect it to be developing. Really, it's still quite a weak signal, though, I have to say, even though it's not really got its act together. We're into August, and you would expect, you know, more development than that, really, if we was going to go to have like a moderate or strong event. So we may eventually get ourselves to like a weak La Nina, or we possibly are already weak La Nina condition, but it is a slow old do this, you know, slow process. Notice things colder than average sea surface temperature and known as gathering of Chile. That's normally a precursor to the La Nina, to the cold event. So that's one of the things that I always look for, you know, to see if we're going to have a La Nina, what's going on around here. So the fact we have so much cold around here in terms of sea surface temperature knowledge, I think does say that we are going to have a La Nina. I think the winter 2024-25 will be a La Nina winter, but I think it will probably be a relatively weak La Nina, to be honest. That's how you compare to last month, so you can see that there has been quite significant strengthening, especially in this central region. Going northwards into the northern Pacific, so we're looking here now. That is how things were looking last month. This is the latest. Generally, things have warmed, I think, through that northeastern corner. We have still got a very slight negative PDO type signature around Hawaii, and possibly, you know, off the coast of California, maybe around here to some degree as well. But I think generally we're losing that negative PDO signature at the moment, probably because the La Nina, you know, is just so slow developing. If La Nina does get in properly and take off and, you know, really get going, then I suspect we will see the PDO shifting into more negative phase, possibly by the winter. What about in the Indian Ocean? So that's where we're looking now. That's how things were looking last month. What about the latest? Let's have a look. So very little change there. It remains a little bit cooler over here off the coast of India and whatnot, and a little bit warmer towards Indonesia. I think generally we're at neutral condition with the IOD, and I think we're expecting to remain with a neutral IOD certainly into the autumn. Where we go as we get into winter will be a feature within winter updates that we'll be focusing on. And then in the North Atlantic, that's how things were looking last month again, on the 5th of July, with the last Sunday Round-Up, this latest. Just generally very warm again. We've seen this over several years, very warm throughout most of the North Atlantic. It's warm through the tropics, so that all looks primed for yet another big season in terms of hurricanes and tropical storms. Very warm up here as well this year around Newfoundland and whatnot too. So just generally the Atlantic remains, as it has been past several years, in you know, a really warm state. So certainly no sign of a negative negative AMO, you know, a cold Atlantic multi-decade oscillation getting going anytime soon with that. It's just warm, really, except I suppose around the coast of Greenland. And there it does look a little bit cooler. That's possibly due to snow and ice melting around Greenland, perhaps. This is a 7-day change, or a 7-day trend. So in the ENSO region, it looks like that. So the western portion of the equatorial Pacific Ocean generally warming, the central and eastern portion of the equatorial Pacific Ocean oscillating, but most areas are cooling up there. Warming has been going on in the northern and the northeastern Pacific, so that confirms what I was saying a moment ago about losing the negative PDO signature. Not much change in the Indian Ocean over past 7 days, and in the Atlantic, most areas are warming except this area just here and up here as well. But of course, the Atlantic is in such a warm state that even if it starts cooling by a couple of degrees, it's still going to be significantly above average. Right, so we have a look at the subsurface temperature anomalies next, so the equatorial Pacific Ocean. So with this, you have to think that, like, this is the surface of the equatorial Pacific Ocean just here. We have got Indonesia over there, and we've got Peru over here, and colder than average subsurface temperature anomalies at depth are gathering pace by the look of it. So going down to really quite a significant depth now, cold and average subsurface temperature anomalies going down to around 200 meters or a little bit more at depth, and rising up towards the surface as well. That looks like it looks like the La Nina is developing at depth in the ocean. Certainly the ocean wants to go in the direction of La Nina. I think we can see that quite clearly now with both sea surface and subsurface temperature anomalies becoming colder than average. The issue, I think, is still what's going on in the atmosphere. So this is the SOI, Southern Oscillation Index. This is measuring air pressures between Darwin and Tahiti. So when you have a negative SOI, then the atmospheric setup, through barometric pressure between Darwin and Tahiti, will be reflective of an El Nino type state. When you have a positive SOI, then the atmospheric setup will be reflective of La Nina. Now, look what's happened over the past few days. So we're still oscillating between negative and positive. So on the 19th of July, very negative, minus 30. 20th of July, minus 22. Those 2 days, the atmospheric setup is very strongly reflective of the El Nino, you see. But it's only a few days further on that we start going into much more of a La Nina type setup. So we've got 25th of July, 26th of July at plus 14, plus 16. So the atmosphere briefly swings into La Nina type state. That's not maintained. 28th of July, we're back to minus 23. 29th of July, we're at minus 23. 30th of July, we're at minus 23 again. 31st of July, we're at minus 21. And the most recent numbers were the 1st of August, very negative again, minus 19. 2nd of August, not quite so negative, but still negative territory, minus 4. And by the 3rd of August, we finally crawled into ever so slightly positive territory at plus 0.24. But the upshot is, with some days reflecting La Nina, but not consistently so, and some days reflecting El Nino, the atmosphere is fighting against the ocean, I think, and that is what is delaying us getting into this La Nina properly. Until the atmosphere and the ocean until the atmosphere and the ocean kind of couple up with one another, we're not going to see this event really taking off. The ocean is definitely primed and ready to go into a La Nina. The final piece of the puzzle really is to get the atmospheric setup to go into La Nina as well. So let's see what CFSB2 has to say about all of this. So we've got our temperature anomalies in terms of region 3.4. That's like the central portion of the equatorial Pacific Ocean. So we've got our temperature anomalies on the side, dates in monthly periods along the bottom. So this hasn't been updated since July, I don't think, from where we from the current starting position. So back in July we were just there. I suspect now in August we would be just there. We'd just be like below ENSO neutral, that neutral line probably. The black dash line, which is the ensemble mean, gradually dipping down into proper La Nina territory. So by the time we get through to September, October, we should be in a La Nina. It's taking it down, roughly to like weekly moderate levels. so somewhere short of 1.5 degrees below average. I suspect in reality will be higher than that. I expect in reality black dash line will do something like that. So it will be between 0.5 degree and 1 degree below average in the end, I would have thought. Surface is normally very good for trend, but often overdoes the intensity. So the fact that taking black dash line down here, I will pull that up more towards there in reality. Of course, at one point, CFS is going for like a super ninja, taking black dash line down to there, but we know we're not going to get anywhere near that. So I think like a weak La Nina is the most likely scenario still. Okay, let's see how we compare then to the most recent La Ninas. So again, keep an eye on the equatorial precipitation just here. That's how we currently are set up as of 2nd of August. This is how we compare to the 2nd of August 1988. And obviously a much, much stronger La Nina event was taking place at this point, 1988, which you remember was an absolutely atrocious summer as well. So obviously no comparison between this year and 1988 there. The La Nina was much, much stronger at this point in 1988. What about the next year? That's 1995. So we have got, you know, quite a reasonable La Nina signature at this point in 1995. Quite a weak event, you know, it was a weak La Nina that we had through the winter of 95, 96. But, overall, a stronger La Nina signature than we currently got, because see, all ENSO regions are below average, right way from the east all the way towards Indonesia in the west. So that's probably a closer match to this year, but it was more advanced, more developed, even that weak event in 1995. Right, what about the next one? Well, the next one is 1998. This one, as we've explained in other study rounds, it started a little bit differently, with the colder than average sea surface temperature on the beginning of the central portion of the equatorial precipitation rather than in the east. So this was like a central base La Nina from the start. Normally they start in the east and then they might become central base by the winter, but this one did things very, very differently. So that was an unusual La Nina. And we do see like that this La Nina, its strongest seen probably in the central portion, but nowhere near as strong as it was at this point, 1998. So much more advanced and developed with La Nina at this point in 98. The next one is 2007. So that has quite a strong La Nina signature in the eastern portion, a little bit less so through the central region, but overall much, much more advanced with La Nina than the current idea, so no comparison there either. And then we got 2010. Obviously, again, that one, all regions that be ENSO region were below average. Cold in the east, cold through the centre, cold towards Indonesia. Obviously, the La Nina was properly, you know, properly embedded and developing at this point in 2010. So again, no comparison there either. And the last time we went from El Nino to kind of like a La Nina was in 2016, and that's the closest match still, I think. So that's this year, and that's 2016. Now this never really got going. I still think the La Nina this year will get going, and you notice the one big difference. What's the big difference between this year? Well, I think this year will eventually get to a proper La Nina, albeit a weak one. But what's the difference there? The difference this year, 2016, is what's happening off Chile down here. No colder than average sea surface temperature on this off Chile, and rising up this South American Pacific coast, such as we have this year. So whilst that's the closest match for the ENSO region, in the wider Pacific Ocean off South America, this year looked better for La Nina. So I still think in the end, because the ocean in terms of sea surface, subsurface, and off the coast of Chile, hope you following all this, it's quite complicated. I still think in the end we will get to a La Nina for the winter 2024-25, but it's likely to be a weak one. I think it's getting too late really for this to take off into a moderate or strong event. I could be wrong, but weak La Nina is kind of like what I would be going for, but not a failure really, such as we had in 2016-17. We shall see. And of course, this will make a big part of the winter updates, as always. So sorry again, but hold on. I've been doing a lot of talking tonight. I better rest my voice in a moment. Right, QBO next. So this is from NASA. So this, you have to think, these are the levels of the atmosphere from the top of the atmosphere and the stratosphere up here at 10 HPA to the troposphere just there at 30 to 50 HPA. And these sandy brown colours just here is the current westerly phase of the quasi-Bayesian oscillation. More about that in a moment. The blue-green colour just here is the last easterly QBO phase, descending from the stratosphere to the troposphere, and then this is the last westerly QBO phase. So the QBO is almost like a heartbeat or a pulse that's constantly oscillating one way and another, you know, constant sort of beat between the westerly and the easterly phase of QBO, except when you have a heart attack, such as we had in 2016 and also 2020, I think it was, when we had 2 failures of the easterly QBO. But anyway, the westerly QBO has not failed. Westerly QBO has descended successfully from the troposphere down, from the stratosphere down to the troposphere. It is now in that boundary level of the atmosphere. Turbocharging of weather is taking place 30 kPa. So this winter will be a westerly QBO winter, and we've got the latest number in for the QBO for July as well. More positive than it was in June, as you expect. We're now at 6.91. So we went into westerly phase of the QBO in terms of the numbers in June at plus 1.95, and July came in more positive. August will see a further strengthening, as will September, October, November, and December. And then the westerly QBO will carry on into like the first half of next year as well. The reason we look at the QBO is that it's kind of telling us how strong zone of westerlies are likely to be in the northern hemisphere. So when you are in the westerly phase of the QBO, zone of westerlies is strength, and when you're in the easterly phase of the QBO, zone of westerlies are weakened. So easterly QBOs tend to coincide with an increased chance of a cold winter. Westerly QBOs tend to coincide with an increased chance of a mild winter. It's not that simple. There have been several westerly QBO winters over the years that have been cold, and several easterly QBO winters, many of them actually, especially recently, that have been mild. So it's just, you know, one of the things that we like to look at, though, for winter. We'll keep monitoring that through the winter updates, of course. Arctic oscillation observed and forecast looks like this. Black line shows where we've been with the Arctic oscillation. Red lines at the end. GFS ensembles are forecasting the Arctic oscillation go. Remember, just an index that's reflecting the atmospheric state, doesn't drive anything in its own terms. Just tells us what the atmosphere is doing. So when the AO is positive, we've got low pressure over the Arctic. When the AO is negative, we've got high pressure blocking over the Arctic. Throughout large portions of this summer, the AO has either been neutral or positive, actually. We did go through a negative phase here through the earlier part of June. That's when it has some very cool weather via northern blocking. But since like the third week of June, we've generally been trending either neutral or positive with the AO. And we remain in a neutral to positive phase with the AO through to the middle of August as well. So nothing particularly exciting happening from an AO perspective. The NEO is the same idea. Again, black line shows where we've been with the North Atlantic oscillation. Red lines at the end where GFS ensembles forecasting NEO to go. So at the moment, we're very weakly negative, neutral to weakly negative. GFS ensembles forecasting the NEO to go into positive territory, weakly positive, through like the first half of August. So with both the indexes, the AO and the NEO in a positive phase, is probably a signal for ongoing westerlies, to be honest. The result of that could be for the Azores high to reach in and give us a spell of very warm, possibly hot weather. The other alternative, of course, is that we just keep the low pressure around Iceland, high pressure around the Azores, keep a westerly flow, and we remain rather mixed and changeable as we have been throughout most of the summer. And that would be my guess about what's going to happen through the first half of August, but we'll see. Eurasian snow cover, not much to see, and actually, as I said, not much to see with that, but of course we will be looking at this in winter updates, because this entire area is going to fill up with snow, and we always like to monitor that, fan favourite, within the winter update to see how quickly the snow advances across Siberia and into Russia, and eventually, hopefully, by the end of the autumn we'll have that snow into Europe. We also keep a close eye on Scandinavia and Nordic regions, of course. We have got a few white patches showing up, rather unusually, I think, for so early. It's only the 2nd of August, but got an area, little area of snow just there. But obviously that's neither here nor there. It'll be right through September, particularly October, that we monitor how quickly the snow advances across Siberia and into Western Russia. And then this yellow area, I should say, is Arctic sea ice. So obviously we're in the melt season. We're probably about, probably about 5, maybe 6 weeks away from peak melt season. So just finish off seeing how we do in terms of Arctic sea ice extent. This blue line dropping, as you expect it to at this time of year, going into the melt season, 1 month short, or a little bit more than 1 month short of melt season. Let's see how we look in terms of our averages. So the most recent average is 2011 to 2020. How do we compare to that one? So we're very close to that one, very slightly underneath it now, but not much in it. In terms of 2001, 2010, we are quite significantly below that 10-year average. 1991, 2020, we're even further underneath that, and 79 to 1990, obviously we're going to be way underneath that particular 20-year average. How are we doing in terms of our most recent year? So this is 2023. So we're slightly under last year now for Arctic sea ice extent. 2022, we're under 2022 as well. 2021, we're very, very close to 2021, ever so slightly underneath it, but not much in it. 2020, that's the first year we're above. We're above 2020, the Arctic sea ice extent at this point. 2019, very close to that. We're a little bit above it. 2018, slightly below 2018, not much in it. 2017, very slightly below 2017. So sorry, everyone. 2016, again, very slightly below that one. Not a lot in it, but ever slightly underneath it. 2015, we're a little bit more underneath that year. We're even more underneath 2014. And at 2013, we're underneath that year as well. This is our record minimum year, 2012. We are right bang on 2012. Now, that does not mean that we're going to end up with 2012 or under 2012. We might do. Can't rule it out. But just because we're with 2012 at the moment doesn't mean we'll be with 2012, like in the middle of September in like 5 or 6 weeks' time. But at the moment, we are bang on the record minimum year, 2012. 2011, we're very close to that, slightly underneath it. 2010, slightly underneath that year. 2009, we're underneath 2009. We're underneath 2008. We're very close to 2007, which I think is the second biggest melt year. It's 2012, the biggest event after that is 2007, I think. Might be wrong in that. 2006, we're under 2006. 2005, we're under that year. And then we're going further and further back, of course, and all of these years back into the 90s and whatnot. We're going to be breaking away from those, so we won't go through those. But maybe we will in a winter update. We'll see. Anyway, that's how we're doing for Arctic sea ice extent. So it is a big melt season. By looking at what's going to be a big melt season, how big it's going to be remains to be seen. As I said, at the moment we are bang on 2012, the record minimum year, but it doesn't mean we will be at the end. We might pull up short of it, but it's probably going to be quite a big melt season this year. We'll see. And of course, we'll be focusing on that in the early rounds of the winter updates. Right, well, that's it then. If you've enjoyed this season of GavsWeatherVids Sunday Round-Ups and this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to tell your friends about the work we do at GavsWeatherVids. I don't think you can find all of this content anywhere else. So it is unique content. And so if your friends are interested in science and getting into the nitty-gritty, the way the weather works, then tell your friends about this video, share it, across social media and whatnot. Thank you so much for doing that. And we will, of course, be picking up all of this with the first winter update. I'm going to be released on Sunday, the 1st of September. So, less than a month to go. I can't wait to get started on winter updates. It's going to be an epic season. Again, I think, hopefully, let's keep our fingers crossed anyway, hopefully by then my voice will be back to normal for, long recording sessions or whatnot. I don't know. But anyway, thank you so much, everybody, for, all of the interactions with the Sunday Round-Up stream this year. Winter updates now commence on the 1st of September. We're going to be live streaming at 6 p.m. So if you've got any questions about this or the autumn update we released earlier on, then check into the live stream. I'll do our best to answer those. We'll be live streaming our 10 to 14 day. And as it's a Sunday live stream, got to show some long range for the coming autumn and a little bit, maybe anyway, for winter 24-25. So I shall see you a little bit later on for that, for the final GavsWeatherVids Sunday Round-Up of 2024. That's all for now, and thanks for watching.